And now it's Boomer Life. Lifestyle ideas designed to make your life more engaging, meaningful, and complete. Celebrating the baby boomer generation, this is Boomer Life.
Nice to have you with us on this St. Patrick's Day. On the program tonight, we're talking about the latest innovations in hearing, and we're talking about, tinnitus.
Tinnitus.
With Dr. Ted Venema, who is a registered audiologist with NexGen and Mainland Hearing. Dr. Ted over from Victoria with us again. We talked about ringing in the ear, which is tinnitus. Mm-hmm. This whole phenomenon that you don't get it. It's not like a cold. No. You can't take 2 aspirin and go to bed for 3 days and you'll be better.
No.
It's a kind of a condition, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be chronically debilitating. It can be that bad. The best thing it can be is a nuisance. But the worst is it can totally drive people bonkers.
Okay.
The first thing someone should do is get a hearing test.
I was just going to ask you, if this is a kind of a chronic issue, and you're listening to this on the radio and you're going, oh my goodness, so that's what it is, this ringing in my ear. Mm-hmm. It's only one ear, which makes it even more annoying, but it won't go away. Yeah. So you're suggesting a hearing test would be the best, to confirm what the condition is?
Let's just, hearing tests for one thing. You're going to be talking to an audiologist who's skilled in dealing with, who can give you more advice about tinnitus.
Fair enough. Yep.
Hearing tests at NexGen and Mainland are free. It's called, you just go in and get a hearing test.
I know.
Then you can find out the level of your hearing.
Right.
And you can get an explanation as to what might be the cause of your tinnitus based on your hearing levels. Audiologists and hearing instrument practitioners are pretty good at, once you've got some data about the hearing levels, you're in a better position to try and explain why the person has the tinnitus.
All right. Now, first and foremost, it's very comforting to know that the hearing test is free.
Yes.
And is it important, Dr. Ted, when I go into that hearing test, that I inform the testing person that I'm here because I have a ringing in my ear?
We take a whole case history on you, and one of the questions we ask is, do you have ringing in your ears?
Okay.
And what does it sound like? And when do you hear it most, etc.? Is it constant? Is it intermittent? Tell me what it sounds like. And then when I do the hearing levels and I find out a specific kind of pathology, I may be able to tie that pathology in as an explanation for why the person has the tinnitus. Or maybe the person takes a lot of aspirin as a blood thinner.
Right, sure.
And guess what? Aspirin aggravates tinnitus.
Is that right?
Yes.
Interesting. But I suppose...
it's taken for arthritis.
Yep.
It's taken so elderly people are commonly put on aspirin.
Yep.
And aspirin is a known aggravator. Now, again, does that mean stop taking the aspirin? No. But now you know why you have the ringing in your ears.
Interesting.
And the explanation thereof can hugely help reduce some of the anxiety.
Well, I would think that the anxiety could become debilitating.
Yes.
I mean, I suppose if the tinnitus is loud enough or annoying enough, it alone could be debilitating. But if it's just that ringing in the ear that's there, it's kind of subliminal. It's audible, so it's annoying.
Yeah.
But more than anything else, it's disconcerting.
Yeah,
I keep hearing this noise, and am I going nuts, Doc? What's the deal?
Yeah, and what I wanted to reiterate too, if you've got the tinnitus in one ear, that can be, you really want to rule out the possibility, and I don't mean to scare listeners here, but of what they call a retrocochlear tumor. And the auditory nerve, if it has a tumor, which is rare, it's like 1 in 100,000 people.
Okay.
I mean, we're not talking common.
Sure, right.
There might be, 20 people in all of Vancouver that might have that. But it's, that tinnitus sometimes is a result or a symptom of that. So an audiologist will want to rule that out.
Right.
That's any physician, when you have tinnitus in one ear, let's rule that out, because eighth nerve or auditory tumors are usually one ear. You don't get them in both.
Oh.
Okay, it's one ear. So that's like a red flag. It's one of those. But I'm not trying to scare people here.
No,
Please don't.
But I'm just trying. We're just trying to connect the dots here.
Yeah.
This is so good to have you with us, Dr. Ted, because this is just good information.
Yeah, you would.
So if there's tinnitus in just the one ear, it perhaps is even more of a reason to accelerate to that
Yeah.
hearing test.
Just,
if it's in both ears, though, what does that tell you?
well, that's going to be less of a scare tactic thing. It's not going to be the tumor thing so much, but it's something you're going to be wanting to know what the person's hearing levels are. Does the person have noise-induced hearing loss? Noise-induced hearing loss is the second most common cause of hearing loss in the world.
Okay.
It's the main hearing loss associated with tinnitus.
Right.
It's a wise idea to get an annual hearing test anyway. People do it for their eyes.
Yes.
Well, why in heaven's name aren't we doing it for our ears? I mean, it's just like, duh, why not?
Right.
So they're free. You'll get information there from a qualified professional, and that information is power to you, the consumer.
Right.
That's
now,
what it is.
Talk to us about that work-induced or work
Noise
environment-induced
yep.
hearing loss. Because, automatically, as soon as you start talking
Yep.
about that, you know what my mind's eye? I see the guy on the construction site with the jackhammer.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And he's leaning on this thing, and it's really loud. And I
yep.
figure that guy, he goes home at the end of the day, he's probably going to take an hour or two before he can hear his kids talking to him.
Exactly. And you're killing your hair cells. Like, we'll do another whole segment on noise-induced hearing loss.
Okay.
I'd love to. But for one thing, I mean, we don't stare at the sun. We all know not to stare at the sun. You're going to go blind.
Sure.
But people think they can just bash the crap out of their ears, and in these cars with the young, they're blump, 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 the whole car's blump. You can hear and it's just like.
That's the subwoofer in the trunk, right?
Have you lost your mind? Yeah,
Right.
that would be the subwoofer. And those people will be clients.
Mm-hmm.
Noise-induced hearing loss is the second most common cause of hearing loss. Following age, it's the second most common.
Oh.
Elderly people in Africa have better hearing than elderly people in North America because we have more noise pollution. Our ears were not meant to hear steel on steel. Our ears were meant to hear the soft voices over the crackling of a fire. That's what our ears were meant to hear.
Right.
The roar of a tiger in the distance.
Now, just pop across the pond to Africa with me and get one of those folks sitting around the campfire. Mm-hmm. Is it possible that those people from that very calm, industrial, noise-free environment are still going to experience tinnitus?
They might in old age. Yep, they might.
Simply because it's...
But it's not as likely because noise is a huge aggravator of tinnitus.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, the hearing loss associated with noise often has tinnitus. Most people with noise-induced hearing loss complain of tinnitus. Not everyone with age-related hearing loss complains of tinnitus.
Okay.
But then again, you get a lot of elderly people who in the past were exposed to noise.
Sure.
They will have a higher incidence of tinnitus.
Interesting
of reported tinnitus.
Now, when you conduct a hearing test, someone comes to NexGen or Mainland Hearing and they have the free hearing test. I did. It was fun.
Yeah.
I went to see Dr. Herman Lee at Mainland Hearing Metrotown, right by the mall on Kingsway.
Yeah.
He was a terrific guy.
Oh, he's a good one.
I really enjoyed the experience. I'd never had a hearing test before. And he was really thorough.
Good.
And put me through all sorts of...
we all are. We're good at what we do.
Well, I believe that part. He was just extremely patient and very professional. But at the end of it all, I got to see my results, and I have what you would call normal hearing loss based on my age and the fact that I'm a North American.
Yep.
But nothing profound or geez, what
No.
put a hearing aid on that guy right now. He's not even safe walking to his car without a hearing aid.
You faxed me a copy of your test, and I
did.
looked at it too.
I did.
You've got borderline normal hearing, and actually we'll spend a time going over your hearing test. That'd be great.
Okay, that'll be fun.
For how the test is done.
Okay, well, exactly, for sure. But by the way, could it be said then? This is ego here.
Yeah, go for it.
Did I pass?
Pass. Did you pass? I don't know how people talk about pass or fail. You pass. You have. A lot of people think about that. Did I pass or fail?
Of course.
You pass because you don't have a whopping hearing loss. You don't.
Okay. So you talked earlier about people who are identified with tinnitus.
Yeah.
And okay, so now first and foremost, I know I'm not going nuts. I have a ringing in my ear, sometimes in both ears. It's really annoying.
Yeah.
But it's this problem. It's called tinnitus. It's not me losing my marbles.
That's right.
So that's first and foremost. If this problem has been clearly identified, are there remedies? Now, you talked about a hearing aid, which could sort of mitigate the background noise, etc. Are there pharmaceutical remedies for this, or is this...
That's a great question. That's a great question. The answer for pharmaceutical, no.
Okay.
The meds used today are no better than those used 4,000 years ago by the ancient Egyptians.
Interesting.
Okay? There is no snake oil, no ring stop, no healed Jesus. It's not going to happen.
Nothing in a bottle, huh?
Nothing in a bottle for it. There are treatments for tinnitus. The approach that we use is generally two-pronged. It's psychological, and it also uses a little bit of masking noise.
Okay.
So we use and we can talk more about the specific approaches of that, but tinnitus retraining therapy is one approach. Another approach advocated by Jack Vernon out of Portland, Oregon. He's recently passed away. His was more of a masking approach. Today's methods generally combine the uses of these types.
Okay.
And also there are hearing aids that not only because of the curse of hearing aids, namely they pick up a bit of background noise, which is a silver lining for the person who has tinnitus, because the hearing aid can therefore mask or cover some of the sounds of the tinnitus because of its propensity to pick up background noise. But not only that, there are some hearing aids out there that deliberately can produce noise, that can cover the tinnitus, and you can sculpt or change the sound of that noise. It's really cool.
Which is why you were saying when you do the hearing test, you're very specific. If a person I've got a ringing in my ear. That's why I'm in your office, Dr. Ted. So you're going to ask all sorts of questions like, what does it sound like? Is it in both ears? And then you can actually try to reproduce that aggravating noise. So the person goes, that's it. That's it.
Yep.
That's the sound I hear.
You can match the tinnitus. First of all, though, you want to get the hearing test done, and that will help explain a possible cause for the tinnitus.
Okay, because can it just be a medical thing sometimes?
It can be. Some people who are taking, for example, certain antibiotics, and they're called aminoglycosides. They end in the suffix mycin, M-Y-C-I-N.
Okay.
Streptomycin,
that's the one that I would think,
all these antibiotics are known to be ototoxic, they kill hair cells. Some of them attack balance more than hearing, some hearing more than balance. But the popular one, erythromycin, don't worry about that one, people, because that's a common, that doesn't fit in the camp. That's okay. So if you're looking at a prescription, I'm taking that. I've got erythromycin, E-R-Y-T-H-R-O, mycin.
Right.
That one's cool.
Okay.
But the other ones are known to be ototoxic. They cause tinnitus.
Interesting.
Aspirin aggravates
tinnitus. You mentioned that,
but aspirin doesn't kill hair cells. It just angers them. It causes tinnitus, but it doesn't cause hearing loss. Those aminoglycoside antibiotics I was talking about cause hearing loss and cause tinnitus.
Is there any kind of supplement out there in the naturopathic stores that might in some way...
Some people have talked about ginkgo biloba.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But again, it's... the stuff that you commonly buy in the natural stores doesn't have a high enough concentration of it.
Okay.
To be effective, but then again, it's not proven to be effective either. There's some approaches like mindfulness-based therapy, some Buddha approach, like embrace your tinnitus, man.
Well,
listen to it louder, man.
I want to talk
live the moment.
Listen to this. I got to take a break. But this is all part of the therapy, isn't it?
Yes.
If you have a ringing in your ear, or you know someone who does, you know how unbelievably annoying this condition can be.
Yes.
I mean, we're having a bit of a giggle amongst ourselves here, but really it is just an extremely frustrating condition to live with.
I'm really glad you're saying that, because you're hitting the nail on the head with it. It's the annoyance of it.
And I want to talk more about, you're kidding around a little bit, but this whole psychological approach to dealing with tinnitus, and we'll talk more about it. Our guest from NexGen Hearing and Mainland Hearing is Dr. Ted Venema, who is an audiologist. And by the way, NexGen Hearing, NexGen is NexGen. NexGen hearing.com. Fabulous website, and mainlandhearing.com, another one, and we'll talk more about the websites and a bit of an offer going on there. But we'll take this quick break on Boomer Life and come right back at you.
It's all about the baby boomer lifestyle. Boomer Life on AM 650.